somebody else's opinion. This one's not hearsay. This is something that I saw with my own two eyes, Israel. These lights that this newscast is talking about in this little short story right here, I was sitting at my desk in my office, and I just had this intuition to go out and look up. Of course, you know, that was Yahweh. And it was amazing what I witnessed that night. It was 20 to 30 lights, all lined up with the same spacing between them going across the sky. It looked like a portal opened up above my house, and there was a huge window in the sky. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a huge ship or chariot was going over the house. Not traveling too fast, but it was going at a pretty good clip. And then behind that chariot was a bunch of smaller individual chariots, a whole armada behind it, all traveling in the same direction behind the one huge chariot. And the reason why I think it's one huge chariot, because there was perfect spacing in between those lights. It still could have been individual, but to me it felt like it was one huge chariot. And so this gentleman here in New Mexico, he saw the exact same thing at the same time. So I'm in Arizona in the Phoenix area, family. So this gentleman in New Mexico saw the same thing at the same time. So it tells you this thing was visible from hundreds of miles away. That's how big it was. Let's go ahead and get into the story.
It says he spotted a string of lights slowly moving across the night sky. And he wasn't the only one. News 13's Rebecca Atkins shows you.
At his home along 4th Street near Alameda, Frank Gonzalez says last night he saw something unusual in the night sky.
Across the whole sky, from one end to the other. I guess I kind of lost sight of them right there, if it was cloudy or what.
He says it all happened when he came outside around 7 to feed his dog Gunzy.
And there was like lights going across the whole sky, and at first I see them coming from a bright light over there. And then I started counting them, and I counted like 30.
And his first thought?
Aliens. I thought it was UFOs, I really did. I never seen nothing like it. I thought it was UFOs.
And Gonzalez isn't the only one who spotted those lights. On Reddit, someone posted that they saw strange lights traveling across Albuquerque, about 30 or so. Gonzalez says he called family members to tell them what he saw.
I wanted to see if anybody else had seen what I seen, because I had seen something that I'd never seen before, and it scared me.
His daughter told him it was...
And he's right. I had seen something I had never seen before also, Israel. And you know I'm not one of these UFO sky watching folks who are out there, doing this stuff full time. That's not my forte. So for me to see this and report to you guys, it was something that Yahweh wanted me to see. And he knew it was something that Yahweh wanted me to share with you guys.
Only worship the Most High,
kinfolk.
not Yahweh.
And they are here
Most High
in
only.
huge numbers. And I'm going to get into it a little bit later. Some more specifics about why they're here. But I got to witness this with my own eyes, Israel. And it was something, it was spectacular. There's no other way to describe it. It was spectacular seeing all those lights and those chariots and that huge armada coming through that huge window. It was exciting too. That's our family. And of course we're going to have them poo-poo this story away with some fake news here. And the first thing they're going to do is they're going to show this big fake globe.
Likely the SpaceX satellites that were launched from Florida last week to provide internet to every inch of the Earth.
We just launched 60 Starlink satellites back in November, and today we'll be launching another 60.
So look at this. They couldn't wait to get this fake X news out there to try to rationalize what people are seeing. Looks like they recruited a sister up here to be part of their whole scam. She looks like she's trustworthy and knows what she's talking about, right? No. She's just part of their games and tomfoolery.
In May, when SpaceX launched the first 60 satellites, an astronomer captured...
Okay. So this is what they're showing. Now, Israel, it looks similar to this, but the spacing was perfect. in between these lights. This spacing looks random. That's not what I saw. It was perfect. And it looked like one huge craft, Israel. So this is not an accurate representation, but it just gives you some type of idea, a bunch of lights in one line.
Them in orbit with his camera. Gonzalez says the images look exactly like what he saw.
Almost like Christmas lights. Somebody else explained it as car lights. And to me, it's still unidentified flying objects because we don't know what they were.
Rebecca Atkins, KRQE.
And they're always going to show you this curved ball to get this into everybody's psyche, that we're living on a spinning ball. But we know better than that, Israel.
News 13.
There have also been reports of those lights spotted in Nebraska and Wyoming, and someone in Taos called our newsroom last night reporting the lights as well.
And you can see again, this is how they get the whole world brainwashing. They just keep slamming you with this image, SpaceX, and we live on a curved ball. We live on a curved ball. This is how it works, and it starts as a child. You remember doing the little science project. You got to make the little solar system, all the little planets, and we live on a ball. It's a psychological game that they start at birth.
We did reach out to SpaceX to see if they could confirm whether the lights seen in Albuquerque were their satellites. We have not heard back.
Okay. So yeah, that's something I saw in my own two eyes, Israel. It was spectacular. Ken Folk is here. Our family is here. And we got a huge graduation ceremony that is going on right now. And they're starting to file into the earth plane for this ceremony. Hopefully, Yahweh willing, we'll be graduating up out of here. But still got to
All praises to the Most High, only.
To do. And so, just another brother right here who's going to speak about UFOs and temporal displacement. And I'm going to let him go ahead and explain this to you guys, and I'll chime in a bit later. This is I think his name is Barry.
Salutations. Let's discuss UFOs, shipcraft, and temporal displacement. If we were going to go into Doctor Who references, we call it trans-dimensional engineering. But I think that's very much reality in this phenomenon. About a week ago, a couple weeks ago, I got a call from a gentleman named Jason Quitt. A lot of people might know who that is. I met him at his SETI. We presented together on the panel, and he wanted to talk what he considered higher dimensional beings creating their own hyperdimensional or their own dimensional space in which astral contact occurs. Okay, and I do agree with that definitely to a certain degree, especially when we transfer this over into type 2 and type 3 civilizations that are using actually micro wormholes and black holes and the quantum hologram for a power source itself for their civilization. So we start dealing with that. We have to deal with some of these higher dimensional beings making actually their own space, especially within inside the craft. Excuse me. The reason why this is very prevalent for me is on a craft like this, all right? I've shown you many times. It's a good one and a good illustration. This ship to me, I would say approximately it seems somewhere maybe like 150 feet in diameter. Less than 200, but more than 100. I'd say 150 feet in diameter when it's floating around in the sky. Now, when I'm levitated into this craft, into the door you see there, all right, below, I've talked about this. This is on another video, the anti-gravity engine room. So look that up. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over that. But that room itself was this. And this room is much larger than the representation, than the illustration gives it, all right? This room was big. It seemed like it was probably more like a cargo bay in size and about 200 feet in diameter, large in there. It was very big. So that, and something else I want to point out. This, you see the cube right there? I mentioned this before. This cube, when I got close to it, first it's a lot bigger than it appears to be. It made me feel dizzy.
So, I want you to pay close attention to what this brother just said there. When he got close to this cube, it made him feel dizzy. And we're talking about technology here that most folks aren't familiar with, and most folks don't even have any idea that this type of technology exists. But the reason why this brother felt dizzy when he got close to this cube is because the frequency and the vibration and the technology that we're talking about in these type of crafts is so much higher than what we are accustomed to. So this brother probably is on a high vibration himself, but even the vibration that he's on, it wasn't that compatible with being on this craft. So it was making him feel dizzy and queasy, making him feel like he was about to get sick. That's something to really think about, Israel, is we are here in a very dense atmosphere, in a dense environment. And as the earth plane continues changing its energies, raising its vibration, its frequency, we too also do that. But these beings, I mean, their frequency and their vibration, our kinfolk who are in these craft, they're on a whole nother level. And so this is what that brother was feeling. And they might have even had to step down the frequency just for him to be in the presence of this craft and in their presence. They have ways to deal with that.
And it was sitting at an angle that was like, I don't know, like a 90-degree angle on the ceiling. And when I look up at it, it starts making me feel dizzy. The thing I call temporal aphasia, which lets me know this was a physical experience because you're about to throw up. That doesn't happen in the dream body, all right? That's a difference between physical and astral experiences. Anyway, that's that first room on there, okay? So this room alone was the size of what this craft appeared to be on the outside. Now, another room in there, it's not exactly the immediate next room I went to, but this is another room in there that's also, it's very large. It's got these large eggs in there. I've shown you this before, but this is another floor on this craft that is bigger than what it should be. And this is outside of what I've already told you before, that a lot of these rooms seem to be in perpetual motion. So when you almost are wanting to go see another room or you're curious, the room will materialize around here like you're sucked into it. So that's something else. And this takes...
And now, that's another very important point. There could have been a video just on what this brother here is speaking on, because he's bringing out so many different points. What he is saying is he's just thinking of moving to another room, and the room is materializing around him. And I mentioned earlier, well, why is it so important for us to listen to the Most High God of Israel, Yahweh, and do what he asks us to do? Because on the higher levels and the higher dimensions, whatever you think, you will manifest instantly. So he is, the earth is a schoolroom, and we are like preschool or the first grade. That's where we are in our development in the whole big scheme of things in terms of how higher dimensional levels and higher dimensional beings go about things. We're just at the base level, but we getting there. How willing we will graduate from this
The Most High
3D
only,
reality. But
not
it's
Yahweh.
so important to be in control of our thoughts, because if you're thinking something and you're thinking wickedness, well, you're going to manifest wickedness instantly. So Yahweh has put this to the test to make sure that all his people have righteous thoughts, because pretty soon, as the frequency in the earth and everything keeps increasing, what you guys are going to notice is what you think about, you're going to manifest quickly. Sometimes it might be instantly in some instances. But that's why it's so important to have righteous thoughts on your mind as these earth plane frequencies and vibrations keep increasing. What you think, you're going to manifest very quickly. And you don't want wickedness around you. That's exactly what this brother's talking about. He's on the craft. Of course, he's not thinking of wickedness. He's thinking about, you know, the questions he has for these beings on the craft. But thoughts are energy, Israel. We have to be conscious of our thoughts. We should be focused on Yahweh. And another thing I'll bring up really quick is when you think about things that you fear, there's things that happen on the quantum level that you draw to you, the things that you fear. That's how Yahweh has set up this schoolroom, so that you can conquer your fears. That's why he says to fear him. If you fear Yahweh, you're going to, on a quantum level, you're automatically
High
going to
only.
draw Yahweh closer to you.
The Most High only.
If you have a fear of heights and all this other stuff, well, then you're going to draw that stuff to you so you can conquer those fears. If you're thinking about demons all the time, that's exactly what you're going to draw to you. A bunch of demons and wickedness. So you need to really be conscious of your thoughts at this time and really try to focus on Yahweh. Follow
Most
his law
High
and
only.
commandments, doing what he's asked us to do, so you will draw him closer to you, Israel.
Actually, I think interspatial geometry to a whole nother level, well beyond me, but other scientists that can talk about this and can probably put equations for this. I want to know, when can I see a scientist, or they'll talk about something, how this actually works as far as interspatial geometry. So anyway, that's another one. Speaking of this here, I just want to show an engine. This engine I've showed you many times, but this is a different craft than that one. This is not on this craft, but this craft, I'm being told when I'm on board that this engine is temporally displaced. And it appears to be very large, and it made me feel dizzy. This temporal aphasia that I've spoken of, that comes with both of these things, all right? So I think this is just something to take into account. Now, I've told you before that these crafts are built over, or grown, actually grown with the different ingredients I've said. There's the DNA from the crew, certain molecules that are coming from planets that are devoid of Van Allen belts. So you've got alloys that are dealing with resistance to cosmic radiation, and you've got a type of a fungus, like I talked about Trichoderma ricci in a couple of videos ago. Things like that that are used, that are grown, these craft are grown over a micro wormhole, over a black hole. So the engine itself is displaced because it is grown within that vortex, within that singularity. This is important, and this is how some of this is working. So we're dealing with these ships that are jumping into the quantum hologram and using the quantum hologram that stores that information in front of a Mako, in front of a black hole. This is serious. Some of these civilizations may be only existing in that way now, especially when it comes down to how this contact phenomenon is interacting with our brain through the divine field. Are you following me a little bit? I feel like I'm going kind of deep on this, but this is very real. When dealing with interspatial geometry and trans-dimensional engineering, like Doctor Who, that seems like a joke to a lot of people, but it's not. I guarantee you I'm not the only contactee that's been on board a craft that was small on the outside. On the inside, it's huge. And why are these rooms moving around us? There's an organic nature. They're grown over these singularities, so the engines are temporally displaced. Do you feel me? And it's not just me talking. This is stuff that they transmitted to me during these experiences, because I'm curious, and I ask. And some of these beings, when I was in their presence, they were answering my questions telepathically before I could formulate them.
Did you hear that, Israel? And this is Barry Littleton. Of course, I'll leave a link down below. You can check out his channel. But he was saying that these beings are asking his questions before he can even formulate them, meaning they're telepathic communication. Thoughts are energy, and you have to be conscious of your thoughts more than ever. They are living energy. And the reason why this is so important, the technology that he is speaking about in this moment in time, because again, we're going to bring everything back to the relevance of this moment in time, is this technology means that Yahweh can fit on the end of a pen,
Most High only.
just a little dot, enough energy to destroy a whole city. And he's coming to show out at this time. Because what Barry's saying is, this is multi-dimensional technology, meaning stuff that we see in this dimension, it could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other dimensions impacting what we see on the end of this pin tip. And so right now, we can't even fathom the power and the technology that our Father is going to bring to the table when he finally comes here on that dreadful day. But he can bring enough power that can fit on the end of a pin that can destroy a complete city. And that should humble us, and we should also be in fear of our Father, because he's not playing around. He's not playing with us. He's not playing with these enemy nations. He's not playing with nothing at this time. If you could only understand how they do business on the spiritual realms, religion has really just destroyed the way that things really work. These spiritual beings are serious, and they ain't messing around. If you have a pre-birth agreement or something you're supposed to do on this third plane and you're not doing it, they don't hesitate to do what they need to do to keep you on that path. It's not this fluffy, holier than thou type atmosphere that religion has tried to put on the spiritual realms. They're just like the military. They're very serious. And they're more serious when you are one of their people who have an important job to do. They won't hesitate to have a death in your family to say, oh, do I got your attention now? They won't hesitate to cause you a physical injury to say, oh, do I got your attention now? We're not playing with you. You have a job to do, and you need to go there and do that job. And they give you a certain amount of chances to do the job that you came to do, and then they'll just yank your soul from your body and go, you can come back and do it again. But when you come back and do it again, it's going to be even harder for you. They ain't messing around in the world of spirit, Israel. And it's nothing like these religions try to portray that they are all these forgiving and holier than thou and, oh, beloved this. No. These people are strictly business. And all the emotions and all this stuff, they don't play like that in the world of spirit. It's like a military, and everybody knows the different ranks and status of everybody because they put off a frequency and a vibration. And there's no false accolades, there's no fake awards given there. Everything that those spiritual beings have, they've earned through hard work. They faced their fears and they've done what they're told. And so they, get to move up in status and rank. But it's not here like the earth plane where you can be born into a family and next thing you know, you're holding some title because you're born. No, it's not like that in the world of spirit. It's strictly business and everything is earned. They don't mess around. Just like Yahweh wasn't messing with us when he put us in this captivity and put all these wicked nations over. Did it seem like he was messing around then? He wasn't messing around at all. And they don't mess around. It's strictly business. And they're trying to get as many people through this graduation ceremony as they can who are willing to listen to Yahweh